Marvel is desperately hoping that they can ramp up some excitement for Avengers Doomsday because, to be honest, this was a last-second change. It was supposed to be the Kang Dynasty. Jonathan Majors got fired, and also his character was awful. They decided to change gears, desperately bring Robert Downey Jr. back to play Doctor Doom, and try to set all this up with basically two movies worth of lead-up. Thunderbolts, which is not tracking well at the box office, and Fantastic Four, which people have questions about as well. And as Avengers Doomsday is now currently filming, we've heard a lot of things, a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors. But now we got some pretty serious spoilers about the different characters and people that are coming back and who they're going to play from a Marvel writer of all people. Avengers Secret Wars spoilers. X-Men writer Chris Claremont leaks big details. So fair warning, there are going to be some potential spoilers. This is what he says. Now, why he decided to say these things in front of a random Comic-Con panel in Huntsville, I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. But a lot of times these writers who do have rights to some of these characters, they get a lot of knowledge. I mean, you knew that the Thanos writer had an idea, or the Thanos creator had an idea when Thanos was going to be used and how he was going to be used. He's revealing who's going to be in this movie that we haven't quite heard of yet. And it's pretty interesting. Now, we've got all of them listed out here, but I think we're going to let Chris Claremont say to you himself some of the characters that are going to be involved. And the offhanded way he mentions this, it just seems like he didn't give a fuck. But here we go.
I'm sorry. Has anyone seen the commercial for the 50 superhero, 4 supervillain not X-Men movie? Almost sounds like it. You better believe it. Marvel movie that's in the process, in production now. No. A positive. I mean, we've got Robert Downey Jr. playing evil person, Iron Man. Wait, that's confusing. And then
I don't know what made him want to say some of these things, because what he says next is the most interesting part.
He's playing 2 other roles. I used to know that. But then Chris Evans is playing Captain America, young Captain America, evil Captain America, and Captain Hydra or something.
All right, so let's get into that one specifically, because I do think these are listed out in order here. Robert Downey Jr. playing multiple characters. There's been a lot of speculation. Will there be an Iron Man? Will Robert Downey Jr. also be a version of Iron Man in this? I think at some point, and at some point in Secret Wars, he's going to be back as Iron Man. I think that's obvious. Like, that's the obvious thing we know that they would do. But the Chris Evans, this is a report that we had heard a year ago. Chris Evans has repeatedly denied this over and over, but from everything we've heard, it feels like this is happening, that he's coming back and he's going to potentially be doing something that got so much backlash in the comics, which was he's going to be playing Captain Hydra, right? Evil Captain America. He was secretly working for Hydra all along, and they did a bunch of retconning with that, stuff like that, right? But then Chris Evans playing Captain America, young Captain America, evil Captain America, Captain Hydra, something like that, Lord Hydra, whatever. I do not know what made Chris Claremont decide to reveal these things at this random panel, but he did.
That Lord Hydra, whatever it's like, what the? Why did they just cast the Avengers, the original Avengers, as all the characters? Villains, assistants, sidekicks. Yeah. Apparently, after denying it vociferously for at least a year, what's her face is coming back as Widow, not the Widow.
Scarlett.
No, not Scarlett Johansson. What's her face? Who had the giant rock fall on her?
Scarlet Witch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Elizabeth. Scarlet Witch.
President Dalton, right? I mean, so she's coming back not only as Scarlet Witch, but a good Scarlet Witch. You know, so I don't know if that means that the Vision's coming back.
There is a Vision series currently in production, by the way. Like from what we saw in the aftermath of the WandaVision show. Just putting that out there.
Like all the original X-Men are coming back. For 2 weeks, we didn't know if Famke Janssen would come back, but now Famke Janssen is coming back. But she's coming back as Phoenix. You know, it's like.
Right, Chris Claremont, right? A lot of people have a ton of respect for Chris Claremont for his X-Men runs and all this stuff, and that's probably why he had such a good idea what's going on. I can't believe he's just fucking saying this shit, right? So Scarlet Witch coming back, Elizabeth Olsen, she's been denied for a long time. Famke Janssen is coming back, according to him again. He also mentions later on, he mentions Psylocke is coming back. He says that Wolverine is going to kill somebody very important. He doesn't really get into details about that. I'm sitting here thinking, this is what he says a little bit later on. Why are you going to do this and make us wait 3 years for the first X-Men movie? Why don't you just make this the first X-Men movie? Who cares about the Avengers? It's only been 20 years. Get it right now, you know? And then obviously the Fantastic Four. Like he mentions them as well. Look, there are some things that I think a lot of us had good guesses about. Now, Psylocke coming back, he says that she's not going to be Asian. Olivia Munn is of Asian descent. So does that mean Olivia Munn's not playing her? But I don't know. I don't know what that means. Maybe Psylocke would be black. Who fucking knows? But Robert Downey Jr. playing multiple characters. Chris Evans. This is the one that I think is going to get a lot of the attention because look, you're bringing, this is what I said immediately that I thought they were going to do. My instincts told me that if you're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back as Dr. Doom, would it make sense to bring Chris Evans in as Captain Hydra? Basically evil Captain America. And I think maybe in principle it does, but just as we saw in the comic books, just because an idea might be fucking interesting or shocking or whatever, doesn't mean it's going to play out very well. And I think Marvel's walking a very thin line for this. Even bringing Robert Downey Jr. back, a beloved hero as Iron Man, to play a different character. Now the idea of doing the same thing with Chris Evans, how is that going to make people feel about these characters? How is it going to retroactively make them feel about these characters? They're walking a thin fucking line. And Chris Claremont, I mean, thank you for the information. I don't know what possessed you to spill all this out there, but now it's out there. And from everything I've heard, that is not the only people that are going to be in it either. So we'll see what happens. A lot riding on Avengers Doomsday, and I just don't know if the hype is there.